Hello, beautiful creative people. Welcome to howtoartjournal.com. I'm your creative tour guide and fellow art journal lover, Kiala Givehand. Today I chat with Lisa DeYoung about her creative journey and the power of creativity. Lisa calls herself the Mountain Mermaid, and she strives to live her life by the motto, create, play, thrive. She creates lettered illustrations with inspirational messages, and she makes hand-bound journals that encourage play with color and fun self-discovery. Lisa loves to get outside and soak up nature, move her body, and let go. She believes that thriving consists of good friends, good food, water, breathing deeply, yoga, and plenty of sleep. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to talk to you today. I've been watching all the little bits and pieces that you share on the internet, and I'm so fascinated and so excited to be talking with you specifically about what you do in the world as Mountain Mermaid. So welcome.
Thank you, Kyla. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to be here.
Yay. All right, so we're going to jump right in, and let's talk about what brought you to art journaling.
Well, I love this story. It was great to have to think back on it because it really started when I took, let's see, how do I start this? My husband and I took a year off in 2000, and I did a lot of journaling then. I've kind of always had a love-hate relationship with journaling, and I did a lot of journaling about the trip, and it was really just writing. But I remember meeting a woman that was on when we were on the trip that was doing some visual doodle journaling, and I thought that was so cool, but I didn't really have the confidence to do that. But I started doing a little bit of that, and then shortly after we got back, I found a shop called Two Hands Papery in Boulder, Colorado, which is where I was living at the time. Mm-hmm. And they were teaching workshops. And so I took a calligraphy workshop with an artist, and I ended up taking more calligraphy workshops from her. I had done calligraphy many years before. And so I ended up becoming her teaching assistant at Naropa University, and part of our assignments, because I got to be a student and a teaching assistant at the same time, every semester we had to make journals, and part of our homework was to play in the journals every day. I mean, as much as possible. That was part of our homework. So I actually have a stack of these journals that I kind of started with.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's really how I started. Was I had to do it for a class, and I just loved it, and I have not gone back since. So
yeah, that is so cool. Can you show that stack again? That is just beautiful. I love journal stacks. I'm so like,
yes.
Wow. So she had you all hand make your journals. Looks like Coptic bound maybe.
Yeah, they were long stitch. They weren't as complex as
Coptic. Yeah.
Coptic, but like this is one, and we would have to do the covers, and then we would paste the paper that we kind of painted and lettered onto the board, and then we just had to do all kinds of, let's see if I can get this in the camera right, all kinds of different exercises.
Oh, wow.
And just playing. We could do whatever we wanted in the journals.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, is that watercolor in the background on that page?
It is.
Yeah.
Watercolor or gouache. We did a lot of that.
Yeah.
And also I used a lot of, we used Sumi ink, and also a lot of walnut ink. I don't know if you.
Yeah, only in a spray version. I've not used walnut ink in any other way. Just I have one little spray bottle of it that I found at Joann's or Michael's or something. And I think I didn't even find it like in the arts and crafts section. It was like in some obscure place with like the woodworking stuff. Maybe, I don't know. It was really weird.
It's beautiful ink. The one thing about it is it's very water soluble.
Mm.
So it doesn't, even after it's dried, if you get it wet again, it sort of disappears. So,
Interesting.
yeah. So I don't use it as much anymore. I just love the color though.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's really how it started,
That is so cool.
classes. And yeah, I really have to give Lori Doctor, who was my teacher, I have a lot of credit for my journaling practice. So.
That is so awesome. Okay, so now, I have to ask this because you brought it up. You and your husband took a year off. What did that look like? What was that? Like, what did you do for a year? And tell me. I'm like intrigued because I'm like, how can I take a year off? What would that look like? So tell us about that. What did it look like for you?
It was great. We jumped off I was working at a job, I had a job then with a company, and so did he.
Mm-hmm.
We saved a lot of money, and we both quit our jobs, and we just jumped off. I mean, it was a little scary, but it was amazing. And we, it's so funny. We traveled around the world. That phrase is so funny because it makes you think that you went everywhere, but the world, even though the world is small, it's also big. So, so we did, we spent time in South Africa and Namibia. That's the only places we got in Africa. Mm-hmm. We spent time in Europe, a little bit in England, mostly Western Europe. We also got to Croatia, which was amazing.
I bet.
We spent a couple months in Nepal, so we trekked in Nepal. We spent time in Thailand, and that's really the only place in Southeast Asia we got.
Wow.
And then we spent some time in Australia, and then just the east coast of Australia. So I feel like there's so much of Australia I didn't see.
Right.
And New Zealand, and that we got pretty good. I mean, New Zealand is small enough. We got to travel around quite a bit there.
Yeah.
We went to Fiji, and more diving because we did quite a bit of diving on our trip.
Nice.
We came back to California. And what is cool, what for me was cool is we circumnavigated the globe. So we started in Denver, took a train back to the East Coast, and my mom was still living then and outside of Philadelphia, which is where I grew up. Mm-hmm. And we flew out from there. And then when we came back, we flew into California. Mm-hmm. And went to San Francisco and visited some friends, and then we took the train back to Denver.
How cool is that?
So anyway,
I love it. That is awesome. Like that speaks so much to who you are, who I know you to be in the world. Like when I see your pictures on Instagram and the things that you do in your life, that totally doesn't seem out of sync with who you are. So that's awesome.
It was an amazing trip, really, and I have the travel bug again. And right now I'm not in a situation where I can travel that way, but I really am glad that we took that year and did that, because I don't know if I'll get to travel as much again, but I feel like I got to see a really good part of the world. And I learned a lot from traveling about how all these different cultures are so different, but really people are people.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it was just wonderful. It was a wonderful experience.
That's so cool. Well, okay. Tell us then, that experience, does that show up at all in your art and in your journaling? I can't imagine that it doesn't, but how does that show up in your artistic voice?
That's a good question. I don't know consciously if things from that trip show up anymore. Mm-hmm. They used to some, just that were very apparent.
Right.
But I think, like you said, I mean, we're still really, we have a camper van, we road trip a lot, and we like to travel. And I think one thing about my practice that I have somewhere in my notes that I wrote about one of the questions is that, I'm kind of a gal on the go. So I really like having mobile ways to go. And so I like to keep things pretty simple. So here we'll move into, art. Like here is my colored pencils.
Oh, I love it.
And this is like a beautiful bag that a girlfriend gave me. And I used to put them in a cigar box, but these are my Prismacolor pencils. They go everywhere with me. I love these Staedtler markers.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah. So, so anyway, so nature and things that I do on my travels now, they really show up in my journaling. I'm not the best as far as like sketching realistic things, although sometimes I do. And so things don't show up in a realistic way, I guess.
Yeah.
I just am informed by that, by textures and colors and shapes and things like that. So
cool.
one thing though, I did do this book, and it's called Aachen Messages, and this was for a show that I did for our library, and it has these African symbols in it that I drew.
Oh, nice.
And they're not from South Africa, but I think that kind of came from my
I see a lot of the Sankofa. What are they called? I just lost it in my head all of a sudden. I did a set of rubber stamps for Book in a Day for this, and all of a sudden the name just went out of my head. It'll come back as you're talking, but those symbols look very familiar.
Yeah, they were fun. That was fun. So
yeah. Okay, so then you started to show us some supplies. Let's go there. What are your favorite supplies to use? Your materials, your tools? Let's see.
Yeah, well, so actually, I have in the past, I think, year or so, I have fallen in love with these Staedtler markers. I really like them because they have really fun colors and they're super fine line, which I like. They last really well. Yeah, you can't probably see them.
No, we can see it. We can see it's pretty. Yeah.
There's just a ton of colors, and I can take those anywhere with me. Like they don't. It doesn't matter. And one thing I've had problems with in the past is certain pens, because when I live at 7,000 feet and then we travel, we'll drive up and over a pass. And it kind of like, I don't know, food bags, if you've ever seen, like they're really fat. Well, weird things happen to pens when you take them up and down. And that happens on airplanes, I think some, but it also happens when you drive. So I have to be careful. So I really like that. And I really like my colored pencils. I've been using those less lately. And then, it really depends on what mood I'm in and if I'm in my studio or if I'm like out on the road. But one of the other things I really like are these India inks.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever used these before?
I have two. I think I have one or two colors of that particular brand. Oh, that's a nice stash.
Yeah, I am actually last fall, I kind of guided some creative play nights in my community, and it's my excuse to buy the two, they come in these round containers.
Yes, I've seen that.
And I bought both sets. I was like, okay, this is my excuse to buy every color there is. So, so these are super fun. I really like them for making backgrounds and things like that. So this is a background that I created.
Oh, nice. And because they're India ink, they're permanent, right? Like once they dry, they're permanent.
Once they dry, they are. Yeah, they might move a little bit. They're not quite like acrylic. Okay. And I don't really understand technically I haven't really researched exactly how that works, but I was introduced to these by a woman I took a workshop with who lives here in Colorado. So, and I just love them. They're really fun. And I actually have a lot of these little spray bottles.
Yeah.
So, you can do little droplets of ink and then spray and they go everywhere.
Yeah. I love that. That's cool.
Fun. So those are really, those were like my favorite. I have a ton of stamps. The other thing I really like doing is collaging. I like I like making found inspirations. So using words to create different sayings that just sort of come up. And I also like using National Geographics. And actually it's funny, it's over now, but last year I had some health issues. And so I got a lot of EOBs, the explanation of benefits you get from insurance companies.
All right.
And the inside of those, they come in these security envelopes, and they just had like, these crosshatch, these really fine crosshatch of black.
Yeah.
I saved all those envelopes because I love the texture of that.
Right.
And then cut those into shapes and make them into like flowers or.
Wow.
No, I don't see any now, but I love using those. So
that's cool. The security envelopes that come in the mail, like, I love that. Reusing things is, that's a cool idea, actually.
Yeah, so that's fun. I love, so I don't get as many of those now, but last year they were coming in the mail all the time.
All the time. All right. So here's my question. And what does your creative practice look like?
That's a good question too. I like, I actually loved that you sent me these questions in advance to kind of consider.
Yeah.
And it's a question that I think people talk about online quite a bit. And I would say mine is not super consistent, honestly, partly because I feel like my life is, everybody's life is busy. We can use the word full between work, and I love to play outside a lot. And so anyway, that's one reason. One of the things we're going to get to is my daily musings journal. And that's kind of my most consistent practice, is in my daily musings journal. And what I like about it is it's just really, it's a bite-sized place to, I have these little squares.
Oh, let's just talk about it. Bring it out. Let's see it.
Okay.
I'm excited for people to see it, and then we can tell them all about how you got to the 2015. So it is so beautiful to just look at in your hands. It's awesome.
Yeah, so this is my daily musings journal, and like here is a spread.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of a cross between, it's really set up like a day planner, but it has these squares. So let me open and see, I'm even behind this week a little bit. This is this week so far.
Oh, nice.
And then the rest of the week, today, the interview will be front and center on here.
Yeah.
But these squares are just really fun. And I started this as a personal practice, and I used to do it in day planners that I would buy. And I got frustrated with them because they had lines, or the spaces were just they weren't a shape or a space that really invited you to really play.
Yeah.
So, actually I should have pulled these out. I think it was in 2010. I had some blank journals, and I started, so this is my 2010.
How cool. I love that we can see the evolution of the music journal. This is awesome.
And I used to, again, here's this evolution of my visual. Like I used to
just write. It's just text.
Yeah, I used to just write, and this is all pencil. There was always some lettering in here that would be bigger, like words that I would make, because I would use my lettering, but then I was writing down almost everything I did. And so it's really evolved.
2011.
And actually, I created my own stamp after a while that I made. But I was creating these journals sort of month by month, and sometimes it would be week by week.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh. And by 2014, I was like, I want to have a whole journal for 2014 that I don't have to create, but I want it to be this basic layout. So 2014 was my first one that I um, published. That's
and when you say published, you mean you made it available for other people in the world to buy from you also?
I did. Yes. Yeah, it was yeah, because actually I created it for myself because now I've worked in printing and publishing for a long time, and I was like, now, and it was before the digital age, really.
Right.
And when I realized, I was like, for 2014, I was like, well, there's all these print on demand places. I can just get one printed for myself. Like and then when I had it all laid out, you know, cause I did all the hand drawings and all the hand lettering, and then I laid it out in InDesign, and I was like, well, if I'm going to get it printed for me, I bet there's other people that might like this. So I made it available, and this first year was print on demand. And so whenever people ordered it, it got printed at a company in Utah, and then it got shipped out there.
Nice.
For 2015, I actually had a quantity printed, and I sold out of them, which is very exciting.
Yay! That is exciting.
And so this is so 2016 will be year 3, and I am working on that. So
yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So back to my practice. I mean, really, this is my most consistent practice. And I wanted to make sure this camera is weird. It does.
Yeah. It's good. It's focused right there. That's right.
Yeah. So,
oh, that's so.
Yeah. So I just have a lot of fun, and really, again, my supplies on the go. Actually, these Statler markers, these markers are the best for this because it doesn't bleed through to the other side.
Oh, nice.
The pencils work really well for that. I actually have fun collaging. Sometimes I print out pictures that I will put in there and collage in there. Or again, I can put tickets or cut up from a program, from something I've been to. So it's really super fun. And I really like sort of chronicling my adventures.
Yeah.
And really, I love to look back on this. I can't help it. It's really fun.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. When I go back to old journals where I transitioned from just writing to like adding doodles or adding art or adding collage or color, anything, I just get a sense of like, oh, I am creative, and oh, I did take time to do something I love today, or whatever it was. So I agree with you that being able to look back on your journey and your evolution, even here, just looking at your 2010 versus your 2015, so drastically different, to see where you are with that. So why don't you go ahead and take a moment and tell people where they can, when 2016 is ready, when will that be, and how will we be able to purchase ours?
So 2016, the goal is to have them printed by sometime in September. I don't have an exact date yet, but I did just talk to the printer, so I just have to finish everything up, and then they will be available through my website at mountainmermaidstudios.com, and there'll just be a link, and actually it'll be front and center on the front of the website, the link to the page, so they can be ordered online, and they will be available in some shops. Again, I mean, I'm still learning a lot about self-publishing and how I can put myself out there in the world.
Yeah.
It gets a little more, but I'm excited. I know they'll be in Two Hands Papery, which is a beautiful shop in Boulder that I absolutely love. And I'll actually be down there live in October, doing a little event. And I think that's going to be October 15th. And then they'll be available in the shop then. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And our friend Lindy is going to Collage Cafe, have them in the Collage Cafe.
Awesome. So Colorado and Illinois, people can get them. Okay.
Yes. And my local bookstore here will also have them. It's called the Bookhaven. And that's in Salida. And I haven't gotten much further than that, to be honest with you.
That's a great start, though. That is awesome. I mean, you started with just making them for yourself, and now they're going to be in 3 different stores. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah. So for folks who are watching this interview, if you're near Denver, find out about this October 25th or October 15th event, so you can go out and meet Lisa in person. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
That would be. All right, so September 2015, we'll be able to start, somewhere in September, we'll be able to start ordering the 2016 version of the Musings Journal. And then let's
and if you want to find out about it, people can sign up for my Mountain Mermaid Tales e-zine.
Oh, good. Okay.
And then they'll get notified when they're up. Okay. So that's just, again, at my website, mountainmermaidstudios.com.
Okay, so we'll make sure they have the links to all of that below in the description, and then also on the website. So since we're talking about the 2016 version, I know that there's going to be a way for folks to get a little taste and a little sample. So you want to talk a little bit about the Doodle Days adventure that's coming up?
I would love to, Kiala. So I really wanted to introduce more people to just the process and the play. It's really just creative play. And again, what I like about it is for folks that either, haven't really done a lot of sort of visual creative play and they really want to, or people that like to chronicle their adventures or just, their life. I mean, for me, life is magic, and no matter, everything is magic. And you can capture it in pictures and put it on Instagram. But I mean, to me, there's nothing like this tactile, like having something. So anyway, to introduce people to this process, I've created something that I'm calling the Doodle Days of Summer Musings Adventure. And it's going to be a digital download, a PDF download of August of the 2015 Daily Musings Journal. And here is the cover.
Nice.
Got in focus now?
Yeah, it's focused. It's awesome.
So that's the cover, and then it will have the spreads for August. So
nice.
And it'll be made, there's plenty of border, so you can make it into a little booklet. So the download will be available. Actually, it's going to be, I'm looking at my calendar. I'm going to have it made available on July 17th.
Oh, cool.
My husband's coming to us, but you can't, it's all right, Tim,
Okay.
because you can't see him.
Hi, husband.
I have the new camera.
Or did we start making a little noise?
Sure.
Okay.
So we may have a little background noise, hopefully. I have all the windows closed, so it won't be too bad.
That's fine. Totally fine.
So anyway, sorry about that interruption.
That's okay. No worries.
So anyway, July 17th, I'll have the download available, and you'll have to sign up for that, and that will give people the opportunity actually to sign up for my newsletter and to be informed about the 2016 version. Yeah. So, and then it's going to be a blog hop. We're going to start on July 31st, which is the full blue moon, which I think is very exciting. So the last couple days of July are also in the download. And then Kiala, you're going to participate, and Kiala play in the download and share some inspiration and tips and techniques about what she does. And I'll be sharing on the 31st, and then Kyla's going to share on the following Friday. And then I have 2 more bloggers that are going to be sharing on the following Fridays after that. So we're going to share tips and techniques and inspiration just to play and really have a good time and give people an introduction to see if they like what this journal is all about. And yeah, I'm excited about it. I love, so of course I've had a little bit of a sneak peek. So I love the, how much white space there is. So there's the space to play in for the day, but then there's white space on the page also for, like, even in your journals that you showed us, it looks like, you'll have one part at the end there in that white space where maybe you used watercolor or you used something, maybe markers or something.
added your own sort of taste and flair to it. So I love the amount of white space that you've given people to really play around, because, you know, those of us that like washi tape and things like that can kind of play around with that white space using some of our favorite supplies. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. I know, I was looking for a good one to show people.
Yeah, with how you have used your white space.
Yeah, actually, this is one. I love this found inspiration.
Oh, nice.
Is that in focus?
Yep, that one's focused.
Okay.
Nice.
Down, actually, this below.
Ooh.
I've been doing, and I haven't been doing it as much now, but for several weeks, I did some illustrations from this tarot deck that I have, and that was one of the illustrations there. So yeah, I really like that there's the white space because, you know, it's interesting. Again, part of the evolution of my process, of my practice has been, I went from, it was like each day and it felt like it was like daily. And now I really look at it more as my week and then my year. And then I can look back on my year, and it doesn't have to be literally like, I mean, some people that's the thing. There is no wrong way to do it. It's like you can write down everything that you do in the day, or you can use a word that inspired you in that day, or actually the past couple of weeks, and that's what you saw, I've been doing a little bit of across a couple of days. Where did this one go? So
I like that. Yeah.
Actually, this is funny. This is a lot of what I have been journaling about, honestly, is about sort of what I'm working on, the Doodle Days of Summer, the next Daily Musings journal. Because for me, this is a big deal to be putting myself out in the world. And so this was, You Can Get It If You Really Want, that song by Cliff, which has been ringing in my head for a few weeks now. When I came up with that, because people often ask people the question, you know, what is it that you really want? I mean, I feel like that happens in the cohort circle. It's like, you can't really get it if you don't know what you really want. And
exactly.
All of a sudden I started singing that song by Jimmy Cliff.
I love it. So then why don't you tell people what happens after the blog hop, like after August? Then what? What if we love it in August and we want September, November, December? Then what happens?
Well, I'm going to have the remaining months of 2015 available as downloads, monthly downloads, and they will be available on my website starting once the blog hop is over, so that you'll be able to print them out. And they'll be similar to this. And again, I'm one of those people, you know, it's all black and white so that you get to add the color. And also for me, these printouts, it just makes it easy to print out. I mean, no matter what kind of printer, you're not using a lot of ink or whatever. And then if you want to print out pictures and stuff to add, you can use your printer then. So those will be available at my website, and all the information about the Doodle Days of Summer will also be available on my website, which is mountainmermaidstudios.com. So this is my first venture in really making this available as a downloadable piece. And Kiala, thank you for the inspiration. Because I really haven't thought about that. I think because I've been such a print geek, working in publishing and stuff, that I thought, well, I just have to have a printed edition.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so this is a really exciting new step, is to have a downloadable version. So we're going to see how through the rest of the year goes, and I'm thinking about that. I might have. I'm definitely doing the printed edition for 2016, and I think I'll always do the printed edition because people like to have a book that's already made up.
Yes. But
I may also have a digital version of 2016 available too. So
yeah, awesome. Well, so then that, just looking at your art, knowing that you've done calligraphy in the past, listening to your journey here, what other kind of art do you do? I'm looking like behind you and I see all sorts of things back there. So I'm curious about what other kind of art you do.
I was thinking about this question and I was like, well, my practice is really really a lot about the process of art journaling. And I don't do a lot of artwork that is like to hang on the wall. This big piece that you see back here, that I did a few years ago during Laura Hollick's Soul Art
Day. I have mine too. It's like a body map.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, same here.
I need to make another one. That was from a few years ago, but I really, really enjoyed that. And back here, I actually have a board. And these are almost just sheets that go in a journal. Grab one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's... This is something that's really fun. This was with Sumi ink, and it's an accordion fold that has pocket in it.
Pockets, yeah.
And I actually did this as a little workshop in my local community with some folks. And that was really fun because, again, if people don't have art journals, they don't have a journal, they could do sheets. And these are, and actually this is funny, this is from these are some of those.
Some of the envelopes you were talking about. I love that. That is so cool.
Yeah, so I had fun. I mean, and this is with that ink in the background, and then the envelopes I collaged.
Yeah. I'm a fan of simple. I'm a fan of very simple artwork that doesn't have to have, like, I love texture and I love layers, but sometimes the simple is so breathtaking and eye-catching. It makes you stare a little bit longer. You're like, what is that? Why is it so intriguing? So I love that.
Yeah, so that's fun. And I am a bookmaker. I love to make books, and I have not been binding quite as much lately, but my most current journals are these kind of paper journals. And so, this is one of the journals, but I made it. It has a spine. It has 4 sections in it. And I have 2 different kinds of paper in it. And then it has a pocket in the back. So like if I collect things, I can put them in there. Yeah. So I love making books. I do that. This one that I showed you before is kind of this.
Oh yeah, with the accordion spine. Does it have an accordion spine? Yeah.
So I like to try different. I have a lot of different books, so I like to try different. Am I getting it in the?
Yeah.
I like to try a lot of different techniques of books.
Yeah. I don't think I knew that about you, Lisa, that you were a bookbinder. I don't think I knew that, but it explains why I am so taken by you and why we fit well together and we work well together. Something about people who bind books, once you create your own book and it becomes like a thing that you do and you try, it shifts something. It creates this other, I don't know, it taps into something in your brain that maybe wasn't tapped into before, and it unlocks something. So I'm always excited when I'm like, oh, I should have known you were a bookbinder. Everything about you says that.
I love doing books, and our library has a show every year that has like a theme to it. It's in the spring. So this is a piece that I called Layers Till Now. The theme for this show was called Below the Surface. And it was mixed media. And actually our library, it has writing pieces and art pieces. So it was really fun. It just came down. But this is an accordion fold book that I made for it. And I had a lot of fun with that. So that's a lot of what I do. I also, for my e-zine, I create color and printables for people every month. And so that's been a really fun, it's usually, a lot of it comes from something that I'm thinking about that, on that particular month. But I'll just show you a few of these. Like this is one that I, colored in.
Nice. So people would get that, they would download it black and white, and then they could do exactly what you've done here and make it color.
Exactly. Yep.
I like that. That.
So that's really super fun. So I have quite a few of these. And so every month I'm always working on some new piece to share with people. And yet they start in black and white. I guess I should have pulled out some of the black and white ones. I only pulled out the color.
That's cool to see them, because we can imagine the black and white, then we get it and we can make add our own color. I love that.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's a little benefit if you subscribe to my e-zine, is that some other little piece for your creative play every month.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now tell us what inspires your art.
Well, I think a lot of what inspires my art is my, kind of my tagline, my theme. It's really the way I try and live life is my tagline is create, play, thrive. And my creating is really is part of my playing, and my playing is outside. I live in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado, and I love to get out on the trails, riding my bike, and hiking, and I'm just really inspired from being outside, the colors. And like I said, I think earlier, sometimes I wish, and it took me a long time to say I'm an artist, because I feel like I'm not that great of a drawer, of sketching things in reality.
Right.
I always wanted to be, and I still want to, but what I realize is that takes some time of sitting and actually doing a lot of sketching, and I would rather get outside and ride my bike, explore on the trails. So I've just found there's so many other ways to be inspired through that, through the color, through the textures, through the shape, and also I really like letters a lot. I think just making letters really inspires me. So I like using a word that inspires me, and then really just I'm going to say drawing the letters or lettering, because I think when you're making words bigger on a page, and then maybe writing around it, you're lettering, because you're actually creating each letter separately rather than as just writing it really quickly, because you want it to be a particular shape, or you want to be able to add color to it.
For sure. Okay, so that's cool. The outdoors, nature, going on hikes, riding your bike, all that inspires your art. Okay, so what would you say to new art journals? What kind of advice would you give to someone who's brand new, they've never done an art journal before? What kind of advice would you give?
There's a couple things. One is, I think, to start simply, and just start with, again, I mean, for me, I still love to have things simple, like markers, because I love color. Even, black markers, you can just make shapes and letter words that inspire you. So I think starting simply is a really great idea. I also think if you have artists that inspire you and they teach workshops, or find some workshops that inspire you, and take a workshop, and don't be afraid, and don't be intimidated by what other people are doing, because I mean that comparison monster always comes out. And me, I look at people, and I also have very the shiny object in syndrome, and so I'll see someone's style, and I'll be like, look what they're doing, that looks so cool. And so I think that's why I'd like to try a lot of different things, but anyway, I think starting simply, and then also taking workshops. I mean, a lot of the things that I've created other than in my art journal, I mean, some of I have this is old, but this really cool book that I bound that's, I mean, and this is a complex workshop, but I did this workshop. I would never do this on my own. And what I also realized from that was I love bookbinding, but like people that do the leather tooling bookbinding and stuff.
Intense.
Wow, it's very like intense and kind of tedious work. And I'm like, I really don't want to do that. So from workshops, you can learn what you love and what you don't love.
So true. So very true. I took several semesters in my MFA program. We had book arts part of our school, and people could actually major in that a year after I came. But so when I got there, it wasn't a major for MFAs at the time, but you could still take classes. And so I literally took 2 to 3 classes every single semester. So I did a lot of bookbinding in a short amount of time. And I remember one class was traditional bookbinding, and we did a leather book, and it was insanity. Like, most of us had to stay in the lab, in the book art lab, like hours. It'd be like midnight trying to finish these projects with leather. It was insane. And some people got to the point where the teacher had to just say, you know what, I'm going to finish, getting this leather to the place where you can actually put it on your book. It was insane. So that is gorgeous.
This is another book I made in a workshop.
That is gorgeous.
What is his name? He actually lives in Asheville, and his work is just beautiful. And he makes like the same kind of thing, but even like the size of this window.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, wow. I loved the workshop. I had so much fun.
Yep.
But yeah, and working with leather is really hard.
It's really hard when you're trying to buy, like if you're just doing, like I know a lot of people who have, Midori Traveler's notebooks, and these are leather, but this is just one rectangular piece of leather. You're not trying to adhere it to anything. There's no stitch, leather is gorgeous and amazing, but you got to really be passionate about working with leather. Really. So
I think you say that about calligraphy too. Like, I loved my year. I mean, I studied formal calligraphy for quite a few years, and I love it, but I really I never got as good as I get a magazine called Letter Arts Review, and it's just, it's gorgeous. And I think you have to spend a lot of time perfecting your craft if you want to be a fine calligrapher. Yeah. And I have to commend those calligraphers because their work is beautiful. And once you do that, you can let loose. And I think I learned enough that I can let loose, and I get complimented on my lettering all the time. Really, I was like, being a formal calligrapher can be a bit, tedious as well, because you're very exacting.
Yeah. So Lisa, is there anything else you want to show us or tell us before we close out for today?
Gosh, Kiala, I think you've allowed me to share. It's actually it's been an honor to be here, because I feel like it really gave me an opportunity to reflect on all that I create. And I really had no idea.
Right? Because we do it in bits and pieces, and it's one thing to sit down with a stack of your journals and look through them and to remember, where you were then and where you are now. So it's always, and it's fun for us to be on this journey too, to kind of see your evolution as a journalist, as an art journaler, as an artist in general. So thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, and all I would say is I would just encourage your listeners to, if they want to play, just play. I mean, really, that's if you're starting out journaling, think of it as play and really enjoy the process. That's really the most important part. And I feel like as an artist, I'm much more of a process artist than I am sort of a results oriented artist. And it just makes it so fun. I mean, it's part of my play, just like being outside is part of my play. So
I'm starting to learn that about myself too. The process has become more important to me than the product. So sometimes I will cut something for binding a book, and at the end of it, the book will be really wonky, but I'll be so super proud of it because of the process, what I did to get to it. So absolutely. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Play. We don't play enough as adults. So play, people. Go play.
Yeah, go play. All right. It's summer. Enjoy maybe some people aren't in summer, but for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer and it's a good time to play.
Yes, absolutely. So go and sign up to be a part of the Doodle Days for August, and I'll see you there because I'll be doodling my way through August as well. So Lisa, thank you again. Thank you. We'll make sure people know how to get to Mountain Mermaid, and hopefully maybe we'll have you back soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, Kiala.
Bye.